What is happening, everyone? Welcome to Dr. Prepper. Today we are going to be covering some items that are essential in your preparedness and survival journey. And we're going to kick it off with just a couple items here, and then we will go ahead and head over to a couple other items. But I'd like to kick things off with just a few basics. Now, there are tons of different acronyms and all kinds of different things. The 10 C's and the rule of threes and just all kinds of different things that you have access to. And we can and will eventually cover some of that stuff. But I would like to keep things as vague and introductory as possible right now with some of these early videos, because I would really like to entice and bring in newcomers to the preparedness world, to the survival world, to being a prepper and to becoming a prepper. You know, once you prep long enough, at least in my opinion, when you prep long enough, I've said this before, you become a prepper. It's something that you become. So, some people kind of fail out, so to speak. They get worn out, they get tired out, they quit. And I have been doing this for many years at this point, and I have been consumed by preparedness, survival, and everything that falls along that whole genre for the last, I would say, 7 years, basically. Probably 7 years. I've been literally consumed. It's something that is in my everyday life. It is in my thoughts every day, planning, preparing, that whole sort of thing. So I kind of have at least some knowledge on the whole idea, and I'd like to keep things as vague as possible, at least initially, and then we can get into some more advanced stuff. And my thought process behind all of that is guys who are past the introductory stage, the beginner stages, and they're in more of an advanced stage in their preparedness and survival career, so to speak. Well, it's good to get a refresher. It is good to see new things. It's good to hear new things. So, that's kind of my thought process is not only can newcomers get easily acquainted with this type of content, but more advanced people can kind of get a refresher. So one of the main items that I believe anyone who is thinking about prepping, thinking about getting items for survival, and it's hard to get everything out that you would like to say, especially when we're talking in just one video and that sort of thing. But there are tons of bases that can and should be covered. And with getting comments from certain guys and talking with certain guys, it is paramount that food and water be your first and foremost thing that you should stock up. All the gear and all the goodies are great to have, but if you don't have food and water, this gear is going to be useless to you because you will be dead. So that is definitely one of my main things is food and water. That is a given in my book. I don't know if it's come across that way. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it in some other videos that food and water are just paramount. Definitely have to have a stockade of food, a nice supply of water, however that may be, whether it's cases of water, whether it's the big 5-gallon jugs, the plastic jugs, the smashed down jugs that you can expand, whether it's something you put in your bathtub and you fill up, and also having filtration for that water is also secondary when we're talking about water. So I'd like to get that out there first and foremost. I fully agree to the guys who have said food and water and that side of things. 100% agree. But on related topics to the videos, if we are all in agreement that food and water, and even though it's not the flashiest thing, it's not a new knife, it's not a new flashlight, it's not a new radio, it's not a new gun, but food and water is going to keep you alive to use those flashy items that you someday might get or that you already have. I know plenty of guys who have gotten consumed by the gear and have failed miserably in the kitchen, and it has come back to bite some guys that I know, whether it was loss of job and then you have no food and water to cover you. You know, loss of job, you get hurt and you can't work, those sort of things. It is great to have a supply, whether it's a few weeks or a couple months or even longer, of food to fall back on that can help ease some things like that. You know, you can't eat your flashlight, you can't eat your knife. So it is very important to kind of base your preps around your food and water. So with that being said, and that being an obvious component of all of this, when we are talking about gear and lists and supplies and that sort of thing and organizing your lists, I am going to preach that you should be making lists. Lists and lists and lists. I would handwrite them and check mark things off as you get them done or you get the item. That way you can keep your thoughts in order. That way if you're watching a video and you see something that you would like to get, you can write it down and you don't forget, because it might be something that's very useful. Or you see a tip or something that you should do. You know, I make tons of lists based off things I need to do, things I want to do, supplies I should get for the house, gear I want to get, knives I want to get. You know, I keep lists as much as I possibly can. I keep lists for both channels, video ideas, gear I would like to get for each channel. So I have a lot of lists going on. So I'm a huge proponent of lists. I think everyone, whether you're a newcomer or someone who's been around for a long time, the guys who have been around for a long time most likely already make lists, or they should know that they should be making lists. It just helps you keep your thoughts in order. So I think a cutting tool is number one, and this is something that you can keep with you every single day, pretty much anywhere you can go. A nice folding pocket knife that is built well with good materials. This right here is the Concept Fenrir. This is one of my newest acquisitions, so I just figured I would bring this one on, for instance. No, it's not USA made, but you can definitely, you know, delve into USA made knives. I have plenty of them myself. I have 4 of them sitting right here, just in case you know, don't think I'm an American appreciator, but I got tons and tons of USA made knives, but this is just one I had kind of sitting here and figured I would throw in. But a cutting tool is just, you know, on a lot of guys' lists who have a lot of experience, a cutting tool is first on the list. In the 10Cs, a cutting tool is first. So get yourself a good pocket knife. Can you get one for $50? Yes, you can. Can you get one for more than that? Of course you can. But don't think you have to go out and spend $100, $200 on a folder. If you are interested in looking at folders or fixed blades, you can definitely head over to my other channel, and I have tons and tons of content on knives under 50 bucks, under $100, all kinds of different videos that you can go to for reference and kind of help you make a decision. So cutting tool, definitely number one. Number two, behind a cutting tool is going to be your combustion tool, or somehow, some way to make fire. And a lot of guys prefer a Bic. I have no problem with that. I like Bics myself. But if you are going to make a Bic your primary way, and that's the only thing that you're carrying on you, that you're not going to have a ferro rod in your truck or a ferro rod in your bag, or matches or something, you must get a way to protect that Bic lighter. If that Bic lighter gets wet, you're not going to be using it anytime soon. If it gets dropped and broken, you're not going to be using it. So, in my opinion, I'm not affiliated with Exotac, but you're going to hear me promote a lot of their products and praise Exotac. They're an American-made company. They make all their products here in America, and they make what's called the fire sleeve. And it is a fantastic item. So if you're not going to carry a ferro rod like what you see here, which I have dozens of them, I have them all over the place, I highly recommend getting something that you can house your Bic lighter in. Now, these are like 15 or 20 bucks. Yeah, maybe a little, a little expensive. I think you can get them on sale sometimes. But I have like 4 of these. I have one in my truck. I have one in my bag in my truck. I have 2 in the house here. This is kind of like my everyday one that I throw in my sling bag. But it's waterproof, stormproof. It's airtight in there. So it's also going to protect, the lighter itself from getting damaged or broken, that sort of thing. It's going to help, just keep everything contained and safe. And then I threw some Exotac cord up here, which just a little piece of this stuff frayed out. They're pull tabs, but they're fire pull tabs. So a little piece of this will spark up very well. Another item that Exotac has and is fantastic. Now, I think this is out of fluid, but I have tested these Titan lights from Exotac. They're like a Zippo, but on steroids times 10. This is all airtight, and you have O-rings. You have O-rings here for where your fluid goes, so it's going to retain the fluid 10 times as long. So if you're more into this side of things, refillables and whatnot, the Titan light is the way to go, in my opinion. I love this thing. I have had this filled, I think I tested it for 9 or 10 months, and at that point I started using it more and more, and then obviously the fluid ran out. But I left this sit for about 9 or 10 months, and it lasted me, I think, another month of use until it ran out. So these things are fantastic. Even if you want to get it, fill it, and forget it in a pack or something like that, it is going to hold up, obviously maintain your gear and keep up with it. But this is definitely something you could put in a pack and just kind of maintain it every 6 months or something of that nature. Next is going to be a lighting tool. Now, these are going to be items that I think fall heavily into the preparedness side of things, but things that you can keep with you on an everyday basis, right? So now this flashlight is definitely a little bigger than something you would want to carry on you every day. This is more of an in-home flashlight or in the vehicle type flashlight. This is a Olight, a mini Javelot, I believe. Yeah, the Javelot mini. Olight, hate them or love them. They do make good products, and they are always trying to be innovative and come out with new things, better their old stock. So you can get some good, lights for a good price from Olight in, from keychain sized all the way up to massive, 1,000-yard throw lights type of a deal. I don't know about that far, but they make some, they make ones that are 4 or 5 times this size. Big, powerful flashlights. So they kind of cover everything, and they also make lanterns and all kinds of different lighting devices. So Olight is maybe one of the first places I would recommend to checking out flashlights where you're not going to spend a ton of money. Now, if money's no issue, then I definitely would, point you towards an American production company. La Lima Metalcraft is a great USA made company. Their cheapest flashlights are a couple $100. There's plenty of options out there, whether you only want to spend 20 or 30 or whether you want to spend 200 or 300. There's plenty of good options, and guys who would like to see more high quality items, we can definitely delve into those as well. High quality knives, lighters, flashlights, that sort of thing. We can definitely do that, but I would like to keep things, with good quality, but also a decent price. So a knife, a combustion tool, and I would highly recommend having something, maybe that you don't carry with you every day, but something that you can depend on if your BIC goes down. Even in the worst weather, a ferrocerium rod is going to ignite and do you well. So definitely would recommend having at least, this Poly Striker is maybe $10-12 from Exotac. Highly recommend going and picking one of them up. I'll link Exotac's website down below. Highly recommend going and checking them out. I believe they're in Georgia. Like I said, all USA made stuff, great products, and great people to deal with. Now let's switch some of this stuff over. So like I was saying earlier, the items that I was just showing previously are great items that would aid you in a preparedness, survival type situation that you can actually keep on you every single day. Now, we're going to move on to some items that I think are imperative to have, but not necessarily something that you would keep on you every day. Definitely could, though. So we're going to go back to the cutting object, and we'll start with this one right here. This is from a company called Joker Knives. They hand make their knives in Spain. So these are not Chinese made if you're worried about that. These are handmade in Spain. They make their own sheaths. They have quite a catalog of knives, and I've become a huge fan of Joker Knives recently. The one I'm going to show you here is a nice price and great material with a fantastic build. This is called the Joker Montez, and this is in molybdenum 14116. So it's a good bushcrafting steel. This has a tall, flat grind, nice drop point blade, beautiful micarta handles. And no, this is not a big chopper. This is more of a mid-sized knife, very similar to the SE4 here. Now, the SE4 is going to run you quite a bit more. It is a little bit bigger than the Montez, not by much though, not by much at all. But if you're looking for a more affordable option, you could go with Joker. If you're looking for, a little more expensive, USA made, the SE4 is fantastic. And then, of course, you can go to the SE6 or the SE Hungalos if you're looking for a much larger fixed blade, chopper style fixed blade. But for a in the middle, between something you could actually keep with you on a day-to-day basis, something you could put in a pack, and something that would definitely help you in a lot of different situations, this size is absolutely perfect. Although I recommend an SE6 as the knife that I would want with me in a situation that was very bad, so to speak. It's always good to have some other options as well. So the Montez and the SE4 are fantastic knives, and I'd like to show one more that I actually have in my pack right now. It's the one that I've had in my get home bag for quite a while, and it has done me very well. This is actually the Glock field knife, and this thing is an absolute tank. No, it's not, a USA made knife. It's not an SE. It's not a Buck. But I'll tell you one thing, guys. This thing is an absolute tank. It's more of a tactical style knife, but guys, this thing has been used and abused. So is my SE4. So is my SE6. This is a fairly newer item that I've gotten within the last couple months. Some of these other knives I've had for quite a long time and have really used and tested them. And these Glock field knives are not expensive at all. I think the last time I looked, you could get these for like 40, 50 bucks, something like that. And that is a good price for, a great fixed blade. So this is also another great option. Going to be quite a bit longer, not something that you would necessarily want to carry on you every day. These would definitely be easier to carry on you every day. And the other item that you see sitting here is a Baofeng radio. This is just a base model here, but doesn't have to be the Baofeng in particular. You will need a license to actually use these and communicate, but you can use these to listen in and do other various things. Now, I will say, if shit were to hit the fan, I would be using this. I don't care about no certification or certificate at that point. But some sort of two-way radio, I just don't have mine handy right this second, but some sort of two-way radio is imperative, especially if you have a significant other and or a family. Having a couple two-way radios where you can have one, you can hand one to your significant other, you can put one in your kid's bag or in your kid's hands. That way, you can always have some semblance of communication, even if the phone networks are down, phones are dead, does not matter. You will have a way to communicate, especially if they take a standard AAA or AA battery. You can get those anywhere. And my recommendation always is, even funny enough, if, shit were to get crazy and you need batteries, check remotes for TVs and other devices. Guaranteed to be AAA or AA batteries in there. And typically, remote controls do not use up a lot of battery. So, there's a chance that you could be getting a battery that has quite a bit of life left. Nonetheless, you would be getting some battery. So that's one of my things, is to check, wherever you might be. Check remotes. Bars have them. Restaurants have remotes. Houses all have remotes, of course. So that's a good, if you've checked everywhere in the place you're at, check the remotes. So that's one of my insights for the day. But, just a couple items to consider picking up for yourself and for your gear, repertoire, the stuff that you should be looking into acquiring. It doesn't have to be exactly one of these items that you've seen, but I highly recommend getting some semblance of at least one of everything you've seen on this video today. A folding knife, a fixed blade knife, a lighter that that is going to be protected from wind, rain, storms, that sort of thing, plus a backup to that, in my opinion. Some sort of communication device other than your phone, and then a flashlight, of course. Those are a couple items that I wanted to cover, and I hope somebody out there got something out of this one. I love all you guys. Consider hitting the subscribe button, especially if you listened all the way through and you are not subscribed. You might as well subscribe because you definitely are a part of the family at this point. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Let me know what you'd like to see next. Otherwise, I will catch you on the next one.